Hello, horse racing fans, and welcome to the Sport of Kings, your window to the world of horse racing. Time now to saddle up with our host. You know him, you love him. We won't make you live without him. Here he is, Mr. Tommy Walski.
Hey, it's time to move on, get up, and watch the Sport of Kings. It is your fastest half hour on television.
On this episode, the horse of the century. It's the Secretariat story on the Sport of Kings. Update from the farm. Thoroughbred champion Mike Kay and his prospect for the future. The Hong Kong Jockey Club Stake is a rematch of the George Royal and our race of the week. And we salute the champions and the Belmont Stakes with Triple Crown winner Secretariat.
With today being Belmont Stakes Day, our opening segment, it pays tribute to Mrs. Penny Tweedy's 1973 Belmont Stakes winner, the legendary Big Red Secretariat. Our following feature was produced by the late great racing historian Joe Burnham. And as you can tell by the way it was filmed, Joe was a man who truly loved the sport of horse racing. It is narrated by legendary disc jockey from Los Angeles, Peter Smith. Let's go watch this remarkable piece of racing history.
By 1973, 25 years had passed since Citation was crowned our 8th Triple Crown winner. Then came Secretariat. By Bold Ruler from the Prince Quillo mare Something Royal, he had been named Horse of the Year at 2, first colt in history so honored. On Derby Day 1973, Secretariat topped a fine group of colts that included Sham, Our Native, and a to-be-great Forgo.
And they're off for the lead. On the inside, that's Angle Light for the lead. On the outside, Shecky Green, Royal and Regal. Then on the rail, it's Restless
Into
Jet,
the first turn, although Sham was in excellent position, Secretariat was last.
They're by the stands for the first time. Shecky Green is challenging his Sham, and he's now got a head in front. Now Shecky Green responds to the challenge, and those two are heads apart. Royal and Regal is third and holding on. Goldback drops back. Secretariat is fourth and moving up on the outside and is now third and moving at the leaders as they come for the head of the stretch. They're at the head of the stretch, and Sham is the leader. He leads it by a length. Secretariat is in the center of the racetrack and driving. Shecky Green now drops back. Coming on a bit is Forgo, Our Native on the outside. Now and then the stretch, it's Secretariat. Secretariat on the outside to take the lead. Sham holding in second. It's Secretariat moving away. He has it by 2.5.
Running each quarter faster than the one before, Secretariat smashed Northern Dancer's record by 3 lengths, 1:59 2/5. By Preakness time, 2 weeks later, owner Mrs. Penny Tweedy, trainer Lucien Lauren, and jockey Ron Turcotte were celebrities, and Secretariat drew the largest crowd in history to Pimlico, a crowd which would break through and line the inner rail dangerously during the stretch run. In moving across the track, the crowd somehow damaged the electric timing device, and the running time of this Preakness would be forever in doubt. The least bothered was Secretariat, who would soon run one of the most electrifying races in Preakness history.
And they're off for the early lead. That's Deadly Dream. On the outside, Ecolitage. Then it's also Torsion on the outside. They're coming by us. It's Ecolitage getting it, and he's moving away by about 2.5 as they pass the stands. Settling into second, Torsion. Sham has good position, third on the rail. It's another 3 lengths back, Deadly Dream. Then Our Native and Secretariat is last again as they move into the first turn. They're into the turn. Ecolitage has it by 2 lengths. Torsion second by a length, and then Sham third. Sham under an easy hold right now, but here comes Secretariat. He's moving fast, and he's going to the outside. He's going for the lead, and it's right now he's looking for it. Ronnie Turcotte sends him alongside Ecolitage. Here we have it. Ecolitage is the leader, but Secretariat is right alongside. Then still further back, that is Sham now going to the outside in third. They're on the turn, and here's the race, folks. Secretariat trying to hold it, and Sham is driving to get him. Head of the stretch, Secretariat, 2.5. Sham under a strong left-handed whip, and he's making his run now, but it's still Secretariat holding on. Secretariat by 2 lengths. Sham driving second. There's a strong left-handed whip again by Pincay. He goes to it time and time again, but Ronnie Turcotte has his whip put away, and Secretariat has him put away. He's beginning to draw away. It is Secretariat. He's coming to the wire. He wins it by 2.5, almost 3. Sham an easy second, our native third. A Coley Taj for Deadly.
By Belmont time, 3 weeks later, Secretariat fever had become near hysteria in New York. The color and charisma of Majestic Prince, the size and symmetry of Man o' War, an immense chest and tremendous drive all his own, all joined with a perfect temperament to make Secretariat the focus of the racing world.
And they're off. Secretariat away very well, has good position on the rail, and in fact is now going up with the leader. They're on the backstretch. It's almost a match race now. Secretariat's on the inside, by ahead. Sham is on the outside. For the turn, it's Secretariat. It looks like he's opening. The lead is increasing. Secretariat is widening now. He is moving like a tremendous machine.
It was a moment in racing history to be savored. What had seemed for a few seconds to be a match race between Secretariat and the now shattered Sham became a rout. The chestnut marched into history in the most emphatic way possible. A winner 31 incredible lengths in front of the next horse, establishing a new American record for the 1.5 miles. Later, Secretariat would defeat older horses in the Marlboro Cup on the main track and in the Man o' War and Canadian Championship on the grass before retiring to stud at his birthplace, Claiborne Farm.
Hook up with Carmen Thomas. She keeps you on track. But this week, she's off track at the home of a retired racehorse, Mike Kay.
This weekend, Funnyside will go for the Triple Crown. Funnyside is attracting all sorts of attention, but his success is notable because Funnyside is a gelding. Another gelding that's well known to Hastings Racecourse fans is Mike Kay.
Mike Kay was gelded when he was 6 months old. And any horse I own and race, they're gelded at 6 months old. And 99% of the horses in Canada should be gelded when they were born. This is the trouble with too many of the sires. They're not strong enough on the bottom line. They're by a good dad, but their mothers aren't too good. But he's so smart that he learns fast. You know, even when Jimmy Ellickson broke him as a yearling, Jimmy was high on him then, when he was only 18 months old, because he learned and he was so smart. Even his first race, when he was all over the racetrack and turning for home, he was nowhere and won by a nose. And we got lucky because we ran him for $32,000 because there was no maiden allowance. And everybody was scared, but I figured because it was August, we'd get by. And luckily we did, to have the great fun. And I think he won 11 stakes, 13 altogether, 13 races, and seconds and thirds. He was never out of the money. And he was so fast, I think this is where he had his problems, because he's the fastest horse around here in the last few years. When he won the George Royal, which was the first race of the year, he ran it in 15-1. And then came back in the Travel at Victor in 15-1. So it was no fluke. And that same year, he ran 1 mile and 16th in the Johnny Longden in 42 and change. And nobody's come close. I hate to see him go to Victoria, but he's going to a friend of mine. In fact, Freddie Ball was my best man 43 years ago. And his wife is going to show him. But he's a type of horse that needs activity, and he gets fed up sitting around here, so he's better to be ridden. And in the show ring, he shows off anyway. Wherever he's at, he just shows himself. His looks, and the way he marches around, he looks just like a gal when they show off to the men. And I hope Funny Side wins the Belmont, because we need something to get racing going again.
Last week here on the Sport of Kings, we began a series we would like to think is rather unique. It is about 8 people, including myself, who bought a racehorse. The racehorse was a 2-year-old with no racing experience. He is trained by Rob Gilker. His name is My Spitfire. At the barn, he is known as Merlin. For the following weeks coming up, you're about to see the life of what goes on in the world of a racehorse.
Hey fans, as you know, Tommy is now a racehorse owner. And like all new owners, he's anxious to get to the races. But as he and his partners will find out, it's a long way to the starting gate for a 2-year-old.
So when you think he will run?
Well, he's going to run when he tells us he's going to run. Not before then.
That's fair enough, I guess.
Yeah. No.
I can't wait to
one step at a time.
A lot of development has to take place before a young horse is ready to run. To make sure things are coming along okay, a trip to the vet is the best way to get a look.
What we're doing is x-raying this horse's growth plate on the radius to see the amount of maturity that we've achieved. The trainer then gauges his training intensity on the maturity of the horse. It's just an indicator. Once the growth plates, that's the slang for the cartilaginous plate where the growth occurs in the bone, is closed, it's completely bone, the bone stops growing in length, and then the maturity is advanced. So they don't push the horses past a half-mile work usually until they're to that level of maturity. The growth plate is right here. This is cartilaginous and it's still open. This would be a C knee, and it'll take 6 weeks probably for that to be completely closed. This one is more advanced. That's almost an A knee. In another week and a half, 2 weeks, this will be completely bone across
So
there.
my spirit is getting close to be ready.
Right. He's almost there. Ready to go.
So the results are good, and My Spitfire's ready to be tested on the racetrack. Next week, Merlin is let out for his first morning workout. Stay tuned.
Next week, My Spitfire gets a chance to run a little faster during his morning workouts. Be sure and watch.
Time now for Sport of Kings trivia. Here is today's skill testing trivia question. Tell me who the youngest jockey was ever to win a Triple Crown. We'll have the answer for you in just a few moments. Time now for the answer to today's Sport of Kings Trivia Challenge. Who's the youngest jockey ever to win the Triple Crown? June 10th, 1978, 18-year-old Steve Cawthon did the damage when his mount Affirm took home the Belmont Stakes. Coming up on the Sport of Kings, it's the Hong Kong Jockey Club Sprint from Hastings Park, and we challenge you to beat the expert. Who would you pick to win? Here's who our expert chose today.
8 older runners lining up in the Hong Kong Jockey Club Sprint. I've got to go back to Lord Nelson. I picked him last time. Diglett just got up to beat him that day, but the pace will be kinder today for Lord Nelson.
Danny goes the safe route with Chalk. For our challenger, though, it's all in the name today.
I like Bold and Keen because I like the name.
A bold pick indeed. It'll also have to be Keen to beat Lord Nelson. If she's right, we'll buy her lunch. Stay tuned and find out in our Race of the Week.
Our Vancouver Province Race of the Week today features 8 gallant warriors. They're competing in the $40,000 Hong Kong Jockey Club Sprint. It was run last week here at Hastings Racecourse. In this race, you're about to watch 7 of them competed against each other on May 10th in the George Royal Stakes. The winner, incidentally, Diglett, is also in this race. A couple of horses to watch are Lord Nelson, Bold and Keen. Let's head over to the barn area as these gallant warriors once again get together to perform for you.
From Hastings Racecourse, it's our Race of the Week. It's brought to you by the Product Sports, where you can read Tommy Walski's Hot Stock column every Sunday. You know, you gotta go big. This week, it's the Hong Kong Jockey Club Sprint. In the number 1 hole, Commodore Craig. Commodore Craig, owned by Linwood Stables, trained by Robert Anderson, the jockey, Mr. Chris Loseth. The number 2 horse, Orchid Sun. Orchid Sun, owned by David Dahl and Pat Thorsten, trained by David Dahl. The rider is Sam Krasnick. The number 3 horse, King Jeremy. King Jeremy, owned by Bold 4 Thoroughbreds and Russell Arnett, trained by Robert Anderson, ridden by Felipe Valdez. The number 4 horse, Irish Pleasure. Irish Pleasure, owned by Fred Juan, trained by Anthony Sizik, the jockey Cayetano Chaparro. The number 5 horse, Lord Nelson. Lord Nelson, owned by Mr. and Mrs. R.J. Bennett, trained by Dino Condelenos, the jockey Frank Fuentes. The number 6 horse, I'm Free. I'm Free, owned by Beverly Green and Henry Miller Jr., trained by Henry Miller Jr., the rider Larry LaCourcier. The number 7 horse, Bold and Keen. Bold and Keen, owned by Double D Stables and Fred and Sue Keen, trained by Robert Van Overshot, the rider Ms. Nicola Wright. And the number 8 horse, Diglett. Diglett is owned by Diglett Stable, trained by Gary Demarest. The rider is jockey Pedro Alvarado. All but one of these horses raced in the George Royal 3 weeks back when Diglett surprised the powerful Lord Nelson at the wire. Nelson, though, still the horse to beat. It'll take a good ride for Diglett to repeat today.
Today the horse is on his game. The rider was on the horse this morning. He seems real happy with the horse. It's always tough at this level. It's always hard to win when you're running with racehorses. I don't care if you're 1 to 5. You're running with racehorses. Lord Nelson, we beat him nose last time. We're back in 2 weeks. He was off for, 6 months? We're going to try it again.
Lord Nelson is a stake horse through and through and knows what to do in a race. Last time out was her first start of the season, so she'll be tougher today. Starting from the middle of the pack, she'll be able to have a good look at the race before making a move.
There's some speed on the inside. I don't think there's as much speed as there was last time, but my horse is a versatile horse. If the pace is off, we can be right up on there, and if it's too hot, we can just lay right off of it. I'm glad we got a bit of an outside post so we can kind of let things unfold and be where we want to be. So, and hope for the best, quarter pole home.
Bold and Keen has the top apprentice rider back aboard. Nicola Wright was in Alberta when he ran the George Royal, but is looking forward to trying this horse at a stake. It's been a while since Bold and Keen's won a race, but he's almost always in contention at the end.
He's definitely improving, so I didn't ride him last time Davey rode him and he ran a really, really good race. There's lots of speed in the race, I'm going to sit behind and hopefully if he's the horse we think he is, he can finish it up for us. It's going to be tough, but we'll have a go.
Irish Pleasure has not proven himself as a stakes horse yet, but coming up from a California winter, this horse has seen more action than the rest of the field. In his only race at Hastings this year, he was hung out to dry, but trainer Tony Sizik feels he's not been given a fair shot yet.
Well, he's going a little better going into this one than the last one, and hopefully he'll have a little cleaner trip. Last time he got taken out pretty wide there for about the first half of the race, which is the difference between 7th where he ran and 3rd. So hopefully we're going to have a nice clean trip this time.
Commodore Craig did not fare well in the George Royal, but to his liking, there is less speed in this race. He may try to dictate that pace early and try to hold off the closers.
Well, once again, it's a tough sprint, Tom. You've got some good closers, and there's some speed in the race. Maybe not quite as much as the last time with Danzalation and Salt Grinder opting not to run in this race. But it's a tough race.
And now the Hong Kong Jockey Club Sprint.
Again, they're at the post. There they go. Field of 8. Older runners sent on the way in the Hong Kong Jockey Club Sprint. From the inside, very quick, Commodore Craig, Orchid Sun, King Jeremy, Lord Nelson makes a line of 4. Now finding a good position is Bold and Keen. Then Irish Pleasure. On the outside is I'm Free. Diglett the trailer. He's about 7 from the lead as they head to the clubhouse turn. From the rail, Commodore Craig leads it by a neck. Orchid Sun, second by 3/4 of a length. King Jeremy, third now by 2 3/4 lengths. It's Lord Nelson settling into 4th. On his outside comes Bold and Keen. Irish Pleasure at the rail. 2 back is Diglett, and I'm Free the trailer. The opening quarter in 21 4. Now listen, 3 furlongs to run. From the rail, Commodore Craig, Orchid Sun, King Jeremy on the outside. Lord Nelson reserved at the rail in 4th. Bold and Keen will take the overland route. Irish Pleasure, Diglett yet to get underway, and I'm Free, half in 44 and 4, 3/16 to run, and it's the Commodore Craig, but Bold and Keen is moving in strongly. Lord Nelson and Irish Pleasure on the outside. Down the lane they come. It's Bold and Keen, Commodore Craig, Lord Nelson and Irish Pleasure. Bold and Keen, Commodore Craig digging in. It will be Bold and Keen to win it. Commodore Craig second, Nice Motor for third.
It broke really well. I mean, I knew the speed was going to go. I was hoping I could break and just sit behind and not get hung out wide. And it worked out perfectly. Just sit behind the speed and kind of, he wanted to go and I'm just sit behind. Lord Nelson's going me inside. I'm like, I'm going to have to go wide. Didn't really want to, but he just cruised by them. It really impressed me. And got to the front pricks and carried on running for me.
I give all the credit to my trainer and his grooms and gallop boys. They worked him and got him back to where he is. But I think there's a lot more horses yet. We haven't seen it all. He's just a fabulous horse. It's just kind of the nicest ending to the Bow Laddie line. It's kind of, there he is, and you know, it's really neat to see.
Hey, we have a winner. Bold and Keen get the job done for our challenger, so we're buying lunch for Kiera and her 3 friends. If you'd like a chance to beat the expert, look for our camera crew today at Hastings, and you could give it a try. If your horse gets to the winner's circle, your next visit to Hastings may be in the comfort of the Table Terrace Lounge.
Last week on our Salute to the Champions, we showed you perhaps the greatest race between 2 horses in a Belmont Stakes, and that, of course, was the 1978 Belmont Stakes between Alydar and Affirm. The last Triple Crown winner came out of that race. Today, we're going to be looking at the 1973 Belmont Stakes. It features Big Red, Secretariat, perhaps, without a doubt, rather than perhaps, the greatest individual race by a racehorse in the Belmont Stakes. Enjoy.
Everybody's in line, and they're off. Looks like the early lead goes to My Gallant. Yes, My Gallant going for the lead with Price and Pence on the outside. Secretariat away very well, has good position on the rail, and in fact he's now going up with the leader. They're moving for the first turn. It is Secretariat. Sham on the outside is also moving along strongly, and now it's Sham. Sham and Secretariat are right together into the first turn. My Gallant has third behind them. Then it's Price and Pence, and the trainer is Private Smiles as they go by the turn. Those two together, Sham on the outside. Sham getting ahead in front as they move around the turn with Secretariat second. Then there's a large gap. Make it 8 lengths back to My Gallant in third and Vice Prince fourth. And Private Smiles is still the trailer. They're on the backstretch. It's almost a match race now. Secretariat's on the inside, by ahead. Sham is on the outside. They've opened 10 lengths on My Gallant, who is third by ahead, with Vice Prince fourth. Then it's another 8 lengths back to Private Smiles, who is trailing the field. They continue down the backstretch, and that Secretariat now taking the lead. He's got it by about a length and a half. Still Sham, 10 lengths back. My Gallant, Price and Prince. They're moving on the turn now. For the turn at Secretariat. It looks like he's opening. The lead is increasing. They get 3 and a half. He's moving into the turn. Secretariat holding on to a large lead. Sham is second, and then it's a long way back to My Gallant and Price of Prince. They're on the turn. Its Secretariat is blazing along. The first 3/4 of a mile in 109 and 4/5. Secretariat is widening now. He is moving like a tremendous machine. Secretariat by 12. Secretariat by 14 lengths on the turn. Sham is dropping back. It looks like they'll catch him today as My Gallant and Price of Prince are both coming up to him now. But Secretariat is all alone. He's after almost a 16th of a mile away from the rest of the horses. Secretariat is in a position that seems impossible to catch. He's into the stretch. Secretariat leads his field by 18 lengths. And now Price of Prince is taking second, and My Gallant is moved up to third. They're in the stretch. Secretariat has opened a 22-length lead. He is going to be the Triple Crown winner. Here comes Secretariat.
Hey, racing fans, if there's a favorite champion racehorse that you'd like to see run again, pull up our website and click on Viewer's Choice for a list of available races. Then send your choice to viewer mail at sportofkingstv.com. Be a part of the Sport of Kings.
Okay, that's it for this edition of the Sport of Kings. On behalf of the crew here, we would like to say thank you for allowing us to spend this last half hour with you on this Saturday morning. We would like to also wish Saratoga Stables, Funny Side, good luck in today's Belmont Stakes, and go home a winner in the Triple Crown. Remember to keep them straight, and we are going to catch you on that final turn.